What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl JD here, back with another video, and today we're going to be diving into 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. This is going to be season 8. So while I'm talking about these couples, I'm going to be doing a little bit of makeup, and when I say little bit, I'm stressing a little bit, okay? We're not going like all out today, but I have my hair in my bonnet right now just to keep it out of my face. But if you guys would like to check out my recent video that I did on the 90 Day Fiance season 10, that was the tell-all. I'm gonna put part 2 in the corner, but after you click part 2, I'm sure you're gonna be able to find part 1 really easily. So yeah, I do apologize beforehand about the birds in the background if you could still hear it even after I'm editing. They're just really loud this morning for some strange reason. But either way, let's dive into it. So with 90 Day Fiance Ever After, we have 9 couples in total, but I've only seen about 6 so far, and that was Gino and Jasmine, Manuel and Ashley, Rob and Sophie, Kobe and Emily, Ed and Liz, and Nicole and Mahmoud. Okay, hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. I think we're just gonna nickname him Moody because he's super moody like all the time. But he likes to say that Nicole is the problem. So I'm like, okay, sir, whatever you say. And then also in terms of the couples that I haven't seen yet, we have Alexi and Lauren, Patrick and Thais, and Michael and Angela. And I was like, why did y'all put Michael and Angela back in this show? Like, no, I just don't want to see it. I really don't. And I heard they had some issues where Michael actually ran away. Like, he came to the States, got his visa and everything, was living with Angela, and he just decided he had enough. And I was like, I don't blame you, because the way Angela be talking to him sometimes, I'd run away too. Like, probably on the first date. We're just gonna dive into Gino and Jasmine. Y'all let me know if y'all be putting makeup on y'all foreheads, because there was a time when I just didn't bother because the match, I mean, this foundation isn't that great right now in terms of like the color match. It's the closest I have right now. Y'all let me know, because I literally had a time when I was like, yeah, I don't like how this is looking, and it's more obvious on your forehead. Gino and Jasmine, they're now married. They got married in the 90 Day Fiance season 10 that I talked about already. And oh my god, the process to even get to the marriage was so stressful when it came to them, like planning the wedding, picking a dress for Jasmine. Like, it just, I was surprised that they even made it down the aisle. But anyways, Gino and Jasmine are now married, and I'm looking at their like dynamics, and it's still very similar to obviously when they were just dating before, you know, the engagement. But either way, they're together, and now they're trying to have a honeymoon of sorts where they just decided to go camping in Michigan, but just somewhere away from their house. So it's very interesting because you can see that Jasmine does not want to be there clearly, but they don't really have much of a choice because Gino is now broke, because for some strange reason when Jasmine was given her visa to come over to live in the States with him, he decided he wanted to quit his job. Why? I don't know. It's just like, Gino, what sense does that make when she can't work either right now? Someone please explain this to me. That was probably one of the dumbest decisions I have ever seen someone make. You're trying to provide for her, also trying to plan a wedding, also trying to get her kids over there, which we're going to talk about because that's another issue that comes up, and you're now not working? Really? So they can't afford a honeymoon because he claims that they blew way too much money on the wedding. So now he needs to try and save money again. But the thing is, it's like, save money how? When you're not working. I know he said he had investments. I mean, I don't really know exactly what those investments are, but it's just kind of like, oh, okay, so like, what are we doing here? But watching them interact, at least in a romantic sense, like, I would rather watch them fight than be romantic with each other because it's so awkward. And Gino is such an awkward person too, so it makes it even weirder. And then Jasmine has her weird like quirks, like she likes his feet. Don't even get me started with the whole feet fetish. Like, I'm not trying to shame no one, but what she does, it's just so gross to me, and I can't even repeat it because it's just going to play in my head for the whole day and be stuck there. So we're not going to even talk about it, but just know that they did decide to get intimate with each other on the camping trip in a tent more than likely just on the ground. So I was like, okay, interesting considering how bougie Jasmine is. I'm surprised she made it through the night. And also we find out that Jasmine was keeping a secret from Gino with regards to her getting pregnant with her other 2 children in her previous marriage. He didn't know that before marrying her. I mean, not that he would have probably changed his mind, but at the same time it does change things in terms of their timeline. And they might also have to do like, you know, some type of treatment, or in terms of fertility, it might end up being a problem because, you know, obviously Gino really wants this child, but Jasmine didn't tell him about her difficulties prior. She's complaining to him about wanting a bigger house, and he's just like, again, I don't have no money. And it's just like, Gino, get another job or go back to the job that you quit. Like, I'm gonna need you to figure this out. What's the sense of trying to have a baby right now if you can't even afford it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't understand this man and how he thinks, like his processes. It really is baffling to me. I'm like, how are you an engineer? How? They end up going back to their home, and now they're trying to seek out how to get Jasmine's children over to the States, and that's been interesting in itself. She actually finds out, well, Jasmine and Gino, because they go to the lawyer together. They find out that Gino should have actually put the children on Jasmine's original fiance visa petition, and he didn't know that. So now because he didn't do that, it could take up to like 2 years for her to bring her kids over to the States. And I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And you can see Gino feels bad, but clearly not bad enough to just get a job and start working again, to actually save up the $5,000 for the lawyer to make sure he doesn't make a mistake again. You could tell they're very frustrated with each other because Jasmine isn't understanding Gino's financial situation, but at the same time I can understand why she doesn't want to understand, because it's like, you promised you were going to bring my kids over, and now I can't see them for 2 whole years. I'm just saying, I'd be mad too. I can't see them now because you made a mistake. Yeah, I'd be pissed. They got a lot going on. They got a lot to figure out. You already know Jasmine was crying and hollering, and I don't blame her in this situation. So Manuel and Ashley, they had a very interesting relationship, mainly because Manuel was so secretive, and it kind of carries over into their marriage as well. And it's just, I'm like, wow, okay, so we didn't really make any real strides here. But regardless, you know, they're married now, and now Ashley is trying to press Manuel to get him to, I guess, connect her with his family, meet his kids, because even though they've been together for almost 10 years now, he's just like, yeah, I don't really want to introduce you. Like, he hasn't actually pushed the issue, and she's been the one that's just like, yeah, I really have a problem with that. And the fact that he doesn't have a problem with that is baffling to me. So that's been interesting to watch. That's been their main story arc, is that he doesn't really want to include her. But it sounds like from a few things that he said that he just kind of feels embarrassed by her in terms of some of the things that she does, like the practicing like witchcraft and stuff like that. Like, she's a witch. And he's just like, yeah, most of my family is Catholic. I don't really think they're gonna like you like that. But the thing is, it's just like, I can understand what he's saying, but it's like, at some point you're gonna have to be honest with your family. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just keep her away from them forever when you guys are married. And also, your kids will have to meet her eventually. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that, because it's like, do you want them to just live in Ecuador forever, or would you want them to eventually live in the States? I just have so many questions. For Manuel, he doesn't seem at all bothered. I know he has his mom taking care of the kids and he would send them money and all, but it's just kind of like, okay, what is the overall plan here? Like, are they just gonna stay with your mom the entire time? Like, I don't know. I'm really trying to figure that one out. I don't know what he's going to do moving forward, but it looks as though he might end up giving in and actually letting Ashley meet his peoples. And also, I think in the next episode, the one that obviously I haven't seen yet, he takes her to a Catholic mass, or a Catholic church service, but they call it a mass. And she looks so uncomfortable. She looks like a fish out of water when she goes to this mass. And honestly, I'd probably be very confused too, because they have a lot of traditions and practices that they do during mass that you probably wouldn't really be accustomed to, you know? So it's just kind of like, what do I do? You know what I mean? So it could be a very interesting and unique experience. experience. But that's what's been going on with Manuel and Ashley. Let's move on to Rob and Sophie. So they mentioned in the tell-all that they decided to move to Austin, I think, in Texas. So even though I am ecstatic and happy that they finally moved out of LA and out of that crappy apartment, because Lord knows that was not gonna work after they got married, because that looks so dingy, low-key. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm gonna have to agree with Sophie and her mom on that one, because that apartment was crazy looking, and the fact that it didn't have a bathroom is even crazier. They're now in Texas, but we opened up to the first episode with Sophie not even living in the same house with Rob. They're already not together. They're already not living in the same house under the same roof. Sophie decided to go stay at her friend's house for a little while until they could work out their issues, because apparently Sophie had caught Rob doing some foolishness again with the whole online cheating thing. And to be honest, I kind of knew in the back of my head, like, the fact that you've caught this man more than once doing the same thing over and over again, it's probably not gonna stop. It's probably just gonna keep happening. I don't think marriage is going to change things, obviously. I just think that she's gonna hit a wall eventually and just gonna have to decide if she wants to keep dealing with it. I just don't think that you staying at your friend's house is gonna solve anything. You're just running away from the problem. So at some point, they do end up talking, but it's not really a successful conversation. But eventually, Sophie does come back to their house. You could tell that Rob is trying to make peace, but in a very Rob fashion. And he gives her this list of things that he would want her to do, which is like, you know, not yell at him, wash the dishes. And I'm just like, sir, this isn't the reason that she left. It wasn't because she was messy or staying in the bathroom for too long. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? So yeah, that was really baffling to me. I wasn't really sure what he was trying to do there other than make her kind of upset on her very first day of even being there. I was like, Rob, at least just apologize or try to make things better, you know, make her want to stay. So that was just kind of frustrating for me to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, Rob, you're not getting it. She left clearly because of your infidelities, not because of your little quirks and things that annoy you about her. But they're still trying to work on their ish. But guess who comes to town because she has a boyfriend in the same city that her daughter lives in? Sophie's mother Claire is there. Sophie's mother Claire has come to Austin to visit her man and also visit Sophie and give her advice. Obviously, she still does not like Rob. Things have not really changed all that much. So yeah, I kind of don't blame her. I'd be kind of iffy on the whole Rob situation as well if that was my daughter. Not saying that Sophie's an angel, but Rob does have his problems, clearly. I'm very confused as to what they're trying to do moving forward, because clearly Rob is never gonna stop cheating. Clearly. So it's just a matter of what Sophie wants to put up with at this point. You could tell she gets emotional thinking about ending the relationship, but at the same time it's just like, girl, you're gonna have to figure it out eventually. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on to Kobe and Emily. So Kobe definitely did not have the best, I was gonna say reception, but in terms of him being received, not by the family necessarily, but pretty much the area that Emily lived in with her parents and also with their son, because she does end up getting pregnant, but unfortunately they were still trying to work out the whole visa situation for Kobe to get there, but he wasn't able to actually be there to physically see his son born, so he did miss out on that. But he does eventually come over to the States and they're trying to work out how they're obviously going to raise their child, and he's trying to figure out where he fits in as a dad. So yeah, they definitely had some ups and downs with their relationship. But regardless, they end up getting pregnant yet again. They have another child, a daughter. So now they have 2 kids. And I'm just like, wow. So Kobe can't work. And also Emily isn't really working. So I don't know how they're going to figure out this financial situation. But here in the Ever After episodes, we see that Kobe is now working. But as what exactly, I don't really know. So don't come for me. But he wears this vest. So maybe it's something to do with construction. I don't know. But regardless, they are now with 2 kids still living in Emily's parents' house because they can't really afford to move out just yet, but she does get help with their kids because their parents would watch them from time to time. And now they are going to visit Kobe's parents or family in Cameroon, and that's been proving a very interesting experience. From the moment that they get out of the airport, I was kind of scared. I was like, what is going on, you know, because when these people came up to him, I was like, what is this? Like, Kobe, explain. So I was a little worried too. I was like, what's happening? So now they're in Cameroon. They're visiting Kobe's parents. They dress in traditional attire and they get to the family's home, and thankfully everybody accepts them with warm welcomes and open arms. And Kobe's dad offers a present of sorts, some type of plant, to give as a gift to Emily's father. So I thought that was really sweet. So Kobe's dad wants them to have a traditional Cameroonian wedding while they're there. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So they're working that out, but you could tell that there is a little bit of hesitation. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm just gonna put this eyeliner on real quick. So they're not having any major problems. It's just the wedding that I think they're trying to figure out. But we're going to move on to Ed and Liz. Now, Ed and Liz, we already know they have been veterans on the 90 Day Fiance franchise at this point. They've also been on The Last Resort, which I was going to try and do videos on. But when I did my first video, nobody seemed to give a crap about it. I'm just going to be real. So I was like, I'm not going to waste my time putting out videos on something that nobody's going to watch. So I just watched it. But yeah, it was a hot mess of a show. I'm hoping that they don't do it again because it was painful watching these couples that you know really shouldn't be together try to force things. It was like, why are we here? And then at the end of it, Liz proposed to Ed, and I was just like, girl, what are we doing? Let him propose. You know what I'm saying? Like, after all the mess he put you through, especially on this show, like, come on now. They done called off their engagement, I think, like, what, twice? So yeah, like, what are we doing here? So I was just getting really frustrated watching Liz just go back and forth with this man when you know good and darn well he ain't it. They have now moved to Arkansas, which is where Ed's family is from and also where he grew up. So they moved to Arkansas, and they actually moved with Liz's daughter. So she's actually living with them as well. And I believe they have their own home, and they're now trying to go into business together, which I think is just baffling to me because if y'all don't remember, in a past 90 Day Fiance season, or I can't remember what the show was at this point, they done been on all the spin-offs. In the past, they tried to work together in terms of Liz working with Ed as his like photography assistant and whatnot, and that did not work out well. They end up getting really mad at each other and she storms off. And I'm just like, why are y'all trying to work together again? Y'all already know the other time it crashed and burned. Like, just let it be, you know? Find separate jobs. Y'all can't live together and work together and also have a dysfunctional relationship. So they both decide to leave their lives in California. And Liz did have to leave the restaurant, even though she had ended up getting this like really big promotion. So she ends up giving that up. And now they're trying to go into real estate together. And I'm just like, I just don't know how this is gonna work out. They're literally fighting over and having arguments about how messy people are, or how messy Liz and her daughter are in the kitchen. But you expect me to believe that they're gonna successfully work together in a business? Like, get out of here. And then they're also now trying to plan their wedding because remember, they have called off the marriage so many times. They have called off the wedding. So I don't know if they're actually going to make it down the aisle. I don't know what's happening at this point with them. But regardless, they're trying to plan a wedding. They're living together. They moved together. They're now trying to work together. I don't know how that's going to work, but I would like to watch it all go down. Our last couple is Nicole and Moody. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to botch his name a couple of times, so I'm just going to call him Moody. Now, Moody does decide to move to the States because in previous 90 Day Fiance The Other Way episodes, at one point Nicole was trying to move to Egypt to live with, well, actually not trying to, she moved to Egypt to live with Moody and his family, and it just does not go well because you could clearly tell that she was really trying to change herself for him. It's a predominantly Muslim country. He's also Muslim. You have to dress a certain way, and obviously she's a fashion designer. She's so used to expressing herself in clothing, and now she has to wear really modest clothing, dressed in a very modest fashion, and you could tell that her inner self is like dying. Like you could clearly see it on camera. Like she's receding further into herself. She's trying to find friends, but she can't really speak the language. So it's really painful to watch. She did end up finding one person that she really gelled with, but Moody didn't like her. So yeah, but either way, Nicole decides she can't do this no more. So she goes back to the US, goes back to LA, finds a place to stay, and now they have brought Moody over to the US to live. You could already see from the moment he got off the plane that he was so disinterested in LA. He just wants to go back to Egypt. He's already had enough. Like, it's only been a couple hours that this man has landed on US soil and he is done. And also when he actually lands and she meets him at the airport, she does this nice little poster and everything, greets him, hugs him, and then tries to kiss him. And I'm like, Nicole, you already know that he's not comfortable with that. Okay, it's gonna take a minute for him to get used to, if he ever gets used to it. So it was just kind of like, Nicole, why are you pushing this man low-key? You know, like you already know that he's conservative as hell. They don't do that stuff where he's from. You do that in the comfort of your own home. Like, you don't do that out in public. You don't show major acts of affection out in public. So yeah, and then she was just like, you're in LA now, you're in America, nobody cares. And I'm like, that's not the point though, Nicole. He's from another country where they don't do that. So you have to give him his space, give him time to get used to everything. So she was, in Moody's defense, a little, like, she came on a little strong. He's coming from the other side of the world. He's really tired. She's getting on him about not really being interested in terms of like showing the affection thing, and it's just kind of like, I mean, he's tired, and on top of that, it's like he's not used to doing that. So it was like, just give him some time. It's only the first day. He only been there for a couple of hours, you know? So I can understand why she was a little disappointed, because she's been waiting for him for so long to come to the US. But it's like, you gotta give him time. You can't just pressure him to do too much too fast. We all know how that works when it comes to Moody, okay? It does not work out well. So I'm just gonna let this powder bake on my face really quick. But yeah, it's just not going so well. I think it was the next day or maybe a couple hours later, they decide to go on like the boardwalk or something. I don't know what it's called, but y'all can let me know in the comments. But Moody, I guess, saw a woman out there that was Muslim or had the hijab on, and he just stands there and stares, according to Nicole. I didn't really see that, but he stands and stares at her. You could tell that Nicole is getting angrier and angrier as the moments pass. It's like, do you want a Muslim woman? Like, what is going on here? But the thing is though, I think what is going on with Nicole and Moody is like, they want a different version of the partner that they originally married. And that's what I think is happening here, and why I don't think their marriage is going to work out past just a couple of years. I think this is the last straw for them, obviously. If it doesn't work out with him living in the States, that's just going to be it for them. But I think it's the fact that they keep trying to change each other. Clearly, Moody grew up a certain way. He grew up Muslim, he grew up in Egypt. He has very, very conservative values. He wants to see his wife dress a certain way. He also wants his wife to do everything that he wants to do, which is go to the mosque and all that stuff, but he also wants her to be very traditional. But that's not her. That's not who she is. And I think he knew that from the moment he met her, but he kept trying to change her, okay? And vice versa with Nicole. When it came to Moody, she kept seeing him as the love of her life and this amazing person and someone who's gonna accept her for who she is. But then, you know, the fact that he obviously, like I said already, grew up very traditional and he wants things a certain way. He wants his wife to act, realize, like, no, he's not that person. She kept trying to change his view on things, change how he saw things, and it's like, yeah, it's not happening. So yeah, that's just how I feel about both of them, and that's pretty much all the couples that I've seen on the show so far. But you guys could, of course, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm just gonna quickly finish off this look with some spray and obviously some blush. Oh wait, I was supposed to put blush on first. LOL. I forgot. Anyways, we could go without blush today. Let me take this bonnet off real quick too. So in terms of these other couples, I don't know how Michael and Angela are gonna work necessarily, but either way, he's now living in the US, so they're gonna need to figure out something. I just realized I didn't put anything on my lips, so I'm just gonna use this ultra glossy lip. What shade is this? Crushing from ColourPop. But yeah, just gonna put some of that on real quick. Oh, that's really pink. I don't know how the other couples are gonna be. I just know that Michael and Angela, they already have issues that we've already heard about, so I really don't know. Now, Thais and Patrick, I have not seen in a minute. I know they have a child now together, but I'm not too sure about them. And also regarding Alexi and Lauren, I've never seen them before. They must have been in past 90 Day Fiancé episodes that I've never watched, but I've never heard of them before. So we'll see. We'll see. But overall, you guys can let me know your thoughts about these couples so far down in the comments. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.